right. Hello and welcome to another episode of our Dana White's Contender Series breakdowns with me, Couch Warrior Pod, and my guy WizzDoes. What's up, Wiz? Wiz pulling out his glasses. That means he's dialed in. He's after class. You know this guy is ready to go. Wiz, what's good, bro? How you feeling about the card?
Doing well as always, coming off of a good week for the both of us on the Contender Series. Those breakdowns were spot on last week, so really happy with the results. And I would be lying if I'm saying that I'm not tired because I'm very tired. 12 hours of work straight through school and work. So nevertheless, we are back and we're looking to keep this hot streak going. Let's do it.
If Wiz thinks he's tired, yo, it's East Coast here. It's 1:30, my brother. I woke up at 7. But we're here. We're out here. Doesn't matter how tired we are. First fight up, we've got Diana Barbosa versus Rain Guerrero. Barbosa is 5'2" 31 years old. She's 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. On the other side, you got Guerrero, 5'1" She's going to be 31 as well. Same height, essentially the same reach, 1-inch reach advantage. Wiz, you said you wanted me to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, so interesting note, this fight just got changed today. Guerrero was originally supposed to be fighting La Framboise or La Framboise. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but yeah, Barbosa stepping in on really short notice here. And yeah, Mike, lead the way because I haven't taped Barbosa yet. So I'll leave some notes about Guerrero, but I won't talk about Barbosa because I haven't taped her.
Word, yeah. So you probably know more about Guerrero than me. I only got to tape like a little bit of her. What I saw was somebody who's not too good of a striker. She's okay. She's okay. Good output, good pressure, decent striking, hittable. I'm seeing a lot of wrestling out of her. I haven't personally seen her takedown defense tested yet, but I haven't gotten deep enough. I have been taping this all like last minute. This week's been nuts for me. But Barbosa, I know well. I know her well. I know her from the LFA, and she's really good. She's really good. And there's a reason that she's making her short notice debut that got announced today, and she's minus 270 right now. And it's because, first of all, she's an extremely high-level judoka, black belt, national, like all kinds of different credentials. And then she's also a BJJ black belt, and she's great on the ground. She does have a loss to Jenna Bishop, but people keep doing this. Like they did it with Luana Santos when Luana Santos was fighting Miller. They're like, oh, but Jenna Bishop took her back and Miller can do the same thing. And I explained it there. It was because Jenna Bishop is a completely different kind of BJJ person from Miller. Miller is 10th Planet. That's a completely different system than someone like Bishop, who's like world level jiu-jitsu. So it's different. And you have to pay attention to those things. So yes, Barbosa lost to her, but Barbosa also showed some decent things there, some decent takedown defense and scrambling. And her own offensive wrestling is very legit. Really nice throws. She can grapple in all kinds of different ways. On the ground, she's nasty. Good ground and pound. Good submission offense. I like everything about her on the ground. And then the beauty of it is I also like everything I see on the feet. She can be a bit hittable, but she's pretty solid up there. And the combinations are quick, fast, crisp. It's not one shot and done. She's always putting it together. And again, I have to go over Guerrero a little bit more, but for me, it's Barbosa all day long. I mean, she's very solid, and I think people are looking at that record 5-2-0 and just like thinking, okay, she's not that great. But I think once people start taping her, they're gonna see what I'm seeing. What are you thinking about Guerrero though, Wiz?
Yeah, so obviously, like I mentioned, I did not tape Barbosa yet, so I can only provide info on Guerrero. And yeah, I mean, Guerrero is a okay, decent striker for WMMA. Like Mike said, good pressure. Chin it holds up, and what I like about her is that her cardio holds up too, even though she throws all that volume. So that's a positive, I guess. So she's not low volume. It's not something that we're gonna have someone like staring at her opponent. And then she can mix it up a little bit with the wrestling. I'm not gonna say she's the best at it, but she's shown some proficiency at least and some willingness to go to the ground. And I mean, I wouldn't say her jiu-jitsu is anything, but she can control for a bit. So that might be something useful. But Mike is really high on this Barbosa girl, and I'm just waiting to see what I see on tape tomorrow.
Looking forward to hear your thoughts, but we can move on. Next up, we've got Jean Silva versus Kevin Vallejos. Silva's 10-2-0. 26 years old, 5'7". We do not have his reach. He's training out of Fighting Nerds, which is interesting. That's where what's his face, Kai Barrayo's at. And I think we've got one other person recently into the UFC from there, but I'm blanking on who that was.
It was this past Tuesday, wasn't it? Not Pratis. Was it Pratis?
Is Pratas at Fighting Nerds?
Is it Pratis or is it Tulio? It's one of those two.
Nah, Tulio's at Shootbox. Remember I was saying he's the only Shootbox guy who holds his hands up?
I think it's Pratis.
I think Pratis is at VFT. Let me check.
From this
nah, you're right.
Yeah.
He is.
God damn, if you only can give freaking Kaio that striking. Holy shit.
Kaio's striking has come along too, though.
It's come along, but in no way like it can compare to that.
If they build up each other, though, that's a nasty training duo right there.
And Pratas can wrestle. Like, he can take people down, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so dude's an animal. But yeah, a little off topic.
Yeah. And then Kevin on the other side, he's 11-0, undefeated. He's 21 years old. Another one of these young Argentinian guys. And I think that's where a lot of the hype's coming from. He's 5'8", 1 inch taller, 73-inch reach. Brothers of Life MMA is what Tapology has. I did some Instagram surfing, couldn't find anything. It's interesting to see the Tapology rankings. Vallejos is number 1 in Argentina, and Silva's number 40 in Brazil. But the one thing I'll say before we move on is the Argentina scene is much more shallow than the Brazilian scene. There's just way more guys in Brazil, like way more guys in each weight class. So,
not to even mention the skill level alone.
Yeah. So I wouldn't look at those numbers. I don't know a lot of people that do, but I know some people do. So I just wanted to point it out. But Wiz, start us off, brother.
Yeah. So you look at the odds, and Vallejo's a pretty big favorite here. I think it's near the minus 300s right now. Let me check this real quick, just to be 100%.
Minus 270.
270. Okay, so yeah, closing in on that 300 number. And so here's the thing. Both these guys are going in there to take each other's heads off. Both of these guys are brawlers that just swing and bang pretty much, essentially. Why Vallejo is a big favorite, I think it's the chin. That's one thing. And then mainly it's going to be the technicality. Vallejos is a much more technical striker than Silva. Silva's just one of these guys that's going to swing heavies, similar to Brito. And here's the thing. When you're giving me this big plus money number on, for lack of better words, a dick swinging contest, you're going to want to take that big plus money number. And in my opinion, I think Silva's the guy that has more power in this matchup. So if in a dick swinging contest where these guys are going to just go out and take each other's heads off, you'd probably want the guy that's a little bit more technical, yeah. But if they're giving you a big plus money number on the dude with more power, you kind of have to take it. So on the contrary to the public, I'm probably going to be on Silva and Silva KO1 once those props release.
I'm not the public, and I'm on Silva too. Wiz actually hit me up, and he was telling me what he just said, and I hadn't taped it yet. I had only taped Silva, and I was just looking at Vallejos, his record. He beat Guerrero, who I know people hate and think he's terrible, but I really don't think he's that bad. And on the regionals, Guerrero is going to be one of the better guys. But then I taped it, and I'm seeing what Wiz is seeing. And honestly, I might even think a little bit lower of Vallejos than Wiz is, because I'm watching this guy, and yeah, I like the striking, but I don't think it's anything crazy special. Good combinations and great body shots. And against a guy like Silva, who does tire out, who does seem to tire out, and who hasn't gone past round 1 in 8 fights, that's going to help you a lot. And the toughness of Vallejos will help him a lot as well. So I do think he should be the favorite, but I don't think his striking's anything insane. He does do very good things, like the body shots, like the combos, and like the output. My problem is he's hittable as all hell. At first, I watched the Guerrero fight, and I was like, okay. Like I said, I don't think Guerrero is horrible. He is landing a lot. UFC vet, I'll let that slide. And then I'm watching more fights, and like he's getting hit a lot, and it doesn't look good. His wrestling looks pretty good, but the one thing I noticed, and this is why I think Silva's going to sub him in 1, is Vallejos almost every time he shoots, his opponents are wrapping up those gillies, and it's because his neck is in the perfect position. When you're shooting, you want to keep your head right against the body. And that's just in basic wrestling as well. We don't have guillotines there, but that's just like it's the best way to get the person down. And on top of that, if you're in MMA or jiu-jitsu, you want to keep that neck safe. So you have to be close to the body, not horizontal. And that's exactly what Vallejos does. He goes horizontal. And a guy like Silva, his only 2 submission wins are guillotines. And what is he going to do here? He's going to go for it. It might end up with him just on his back and Vallejos pounding him out, but he can also submit him. And Silva, I don't even think his striking is that bad. I actually thought it was pretty good. I think Brito's a decent comparison because he'll look clean, and then he'll just start winging, kind of like Brito did. But I don't think it's as severe. And I liked a lot of things. I liked the front kicks. I liked his elbows. The clinch looked pretty good, but the step and elbows in particular, those were really nice. Now we're working off of mad little tape. The tape index has 2 fights. If you look up Silva and then you throw his nickname in there, I forget what it is. It's something like Lord. Yeah. You throw that in there. You do like whatever his first name is, Lord Silva, and you'll get one more fight. But it's just a quick guillotine, not much to take from it. I do think he'll gas if this extends, but I think he's very live to finish Vallejos here. I threw a half unit on him. I didn't even think twice after finishing the tape. Plus 205, I'm in. I might look at the unders as well, depending what they give us. If it's an under 2.5, I'll probably play it too.
Oh, no way.
No way, right? That would be crazy.
No way.
But they've been off with these lines, man. They've been kind of sucking with making the lines.
I don't know, but 1.5, I think, is going to be juice.
You think?
Dude, it's a dick swinging contest. These guys, they really don't like to waste no time, especially Silva.
Yeah, like I said, Silva in his last 8 fights hasn't left round 1 a single time.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, yeah, he's doing it against bad guys, but that's the same thing with Vallejos. The one thing I'll give Vallejos, though, is the guys he's fighting might suck, but they're way more experienced, like way more, right? Like you have the Nestor Machado fight. Guy has 26 fights, 17-9-0. Dude was piecing up my guy Vallejos here, which is one of the reasons why I don't like Vallejos too much. But, he's fighting more experienced guys. So he does have that going for him. And he's got the striking going for him. But, yeah.
Bro, you see the tattoo on Silva's chest?
What is it? I didn't notice.
It's a lock.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
It is a lock. I'm dead. Yeah, but bro, Vallejos has 2 belts on his shoulders.
Bro, read the script. You see the lock? It's a lock.
You sound like a very interesting Twitter personality now. Yeah.
Where's my books? Man of the library. I have my
Read
books.
more books. What the fuck book even is that?
So my brother's girlfriend got me this when I broke my ankle a couple months ago.
That's pretty fire. That's pretty fire. It's a coloring book though, which makes you pulling it out and saying read more books.
I don't give a fuck.
Way better.
I only read pictures. I don't read words.
When Wiz reads, he's doing coloring puzzles. Oh man, that one got me. But yeah, I think we're both on Silva here. We can move on.
Yep.
All right, we got Chad Hanacombe versus Cam Roston. Hanacombe 9-2-0. He's 6'4" with a 75-inch reach. We don't have his age, but I'm almost positive he's like 30 something, like in the higher 30s. I don't know where I remember that from. Roston 8-2-0. He's 6'2". Don't have his age either, and he's at City Kickboxing, which is great. And I'll start us off here. So I know Hanacombe pretty decent. I try to do brave when I can. And, his competition is definitely better. There's no doubt there. Neither guy's fighting anybody good at all, but Hanacombe's at least fighting decent guys, whereas Cam is fighting pretty horrible people. Hanacombe is a really good wrestler. Very solid, I would say. Like, the first few takedowns I saw him shoot, I was like, meh. But then I watched him, and he's good. He's good. But one of my problems with him is the same reason I'm picking Gon against Spivak, is he's not setting up the takedowns. He doesn't have much striking to set it up, and he's only really able to get it against guys who can't really handle pressure or just aren't that great with the takedown defense. But when he can't set it up, in that fight where he got knocked out by Daniel Pereira, he was shooting really sloppy, no setups, and he wasn't getting them. And I think a guy like Cam Roston can make it hard. And on the feet, I think Cam's better. To me, Chad, he's just a serviceable striker. There's nothing good to it. He's very, very hittable. He throws a lot of leg kicks, but you'll hear the commentators say like, "Wow, the leg kicks," but they're like not that significant. He does have like one leg kick TKO situation, but the guy is what 11-9-0. Dominic Schober. It wasn't that great of a win. And then Roston, I think he's the better striker without a doubt. I think the height is off also. The dude is very, very tall. I'm pretty sure he's going to be the taller man here. He is like thinner. What's his name? I'm blanking now. Hanacombe. He's going to definitely have the physicality edge. Like you look at him, he's built. He's very built. Seems athletic, even though it doesn't really translate. But Roston, I think he's going to be taller and longer. I really like the striking from him, actually. He's no Adesanya or Olberg over in City Kickboxing, but you can tell he's training with good guys because the striking is there. He is able to use his range. He is able to stay out of danger for the most part. You don't see him getting hit all too much. Again, crap competition, but he's not getting hit all too much. And I do think he's a better striker. And the pleasant surprise for me was the grappling. Do I think he's as good as Hanacombe? Absolutely not. But for me, this is a similar situation to Kawamba Vogel, where I felt that Kawamba isn't as good of an offensive wrestler, but he could use his wrestling defensively. And I think Roston can do a similar thing. I think his wrestling is good enough to use it defensively. And I think that he can then beat up on Hanacombe on the feet. I do have some concerns when he does shoot Roston, because he does similar to what I was just talking about with Kevin, where he'll shoot and his neck is just horizontal. But Hanacombe doesn't have a single guillotine win, and he's not really going for them. So I don't think that's really going to happen. I like Roston. Played him at plus 240. I put a half unit on him. Between him and Silva, I just need one to cash, and I'm good. So, and I think both are going to. So, what do you think, Wiz?
First and foremost, put that comment up there. My guy Rogue, we appreciate it. You already know it's we're doing this stuff early, no casual shit, coming off of a really good week. So I appreciate the support.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's get into this breakdown. So I'll start with Roston. He's one of those city kickboxing boys, trains with Izzy and them. Decent striking. I wouldn't say his striking is really that good, but definitely better than Hanacombe's. I got to say that. The issue I have with him is that the takedown defense is horrible. Like he hasn't picked that up from city kickboxing yet.
What fight?
I'm
genuinely asking, because I only watched back like his last 3, and I didn't see it. But
no, you got to go back a little bit. You got to go back a little bit further. I think like the 4th and 5th fight. I'm pretty sure. I'm blanking out on the names. But
3 and 4 years ago.
Yeah, but it's still not a good look. We haven't seen it tested, so we can't make the conclusion that it's improved. But also, we can't say that it hasn't. But it's, to me, Roston's going to be the better striker. The wrestling, like I mentioned, takedown defense is pretty bad. But he can stay safe on the mat. That's the one thing I like about him. On the other hand, Hanacombe, very serviceable striking. Nothing crazy, as you mentioned. Shoots for takedowns, but my issue with his takedowns is that A, they're sloppy, and then B, and similar to Vallejos, he leaves his neck open to get gillied. And I'm like I mentioned, Roston, I think he's a decent grappler. Nothing crazy, but I think he can lock up some subs. And it's just going to be a question of if Hanacombe can keep Roston down on the mat, because I don't really rate his grappling and his control. So if you don't have the jiu-jitsu, you're not going to be able to find that control. All that being said, I just think Hanacombe is this. I'm not going to say the side to bet, but I think he's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting to win. Mouth freaking jumble there, but yeah, I think Hanacombe wins just because of the wrestling, and if he keeps landing these takedowns and there isn't much resistance from Roston, he won't gas out as bad, because we've seen Hanacombe gas out a little bit after a couple of failed takedowns. So yeah, I lean Hanacombe, but no bet ultimately. I think both guys, whoever makes it, is probably going to be a fade at some point, if not the first fight.
Both of them are going to be absolute fades.
Yeah.
In the middleweight division.
Yeah, I don't rate that. But hey, here's the intangible here. Hanacombe is South African. The middleweight division has another Dricus.
Yeah, but Dricus trains at whatever camp that is with Cameron Simone as a training partner.
Listen, he's South African. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's
He has the genetics.
fine.
Look at him. He has the beard. He has that little almost ginger type hair and the colored eyes. That's it.
He is pretty ripped. He is pretty ripped.
Yeah, he's built. He's
The
built.
one thing I will add, though, it's something I'm learning with Contender Series in particular. It definitely applies to UFC too, but I think with the lower level guys, the guys who seem to be less good, at least on paper, the difference usually isn't that wide on the Contender Series. And if they have like that, I have a hard time putting it into words. Like you can call it that dog in them, or just like being able to go through the fire, or being hungry, whatever word you want to use. I think a great example was the Balaji fight. I felt that Salvador was better everywhere off the tape. Felt like he was better on paper easily. But I agreed with a lot of Wiz's reads. I know Wiz rocked that one. And I stayed off of it. And Oki, maybe, we don't know. Maybe he is more technically good. But Oki just went in. And he did not allow any space. And we see it time and time again now that the guys who are willing to fight through the fire, they're the ones who are getting those victories, whether they're the underdog or the favorite. Hyder Amel, another example. I mean, dude, he's not that great. We're going to fade the hell out of him soon, but he fought through the fire. And a lot of people are on the other side, even though it was a dog. And there's a ton of other examples. I'm too tired to list them, but it's just something
we've been killing it on that angle. I got to say, we've been killing it at finding the dog.
Yeah, dude, I'm starting to like really notice it. Like it's the guys who are willing to fight through the fire. Tulio Silva, that's another good example.
God. Oh my goodness. News.
What happened to Bedoya?
Wait, that's off topic. But
what's your? Was I right?
I think either Hanacombe or Roston is out.
Oh come on! Is that who Budka's coming in for? Budka's a light heavyweight, though.
I just got word right now.
Insider?
Yeah. Let me see. Let's see if he replies. That is.
Damn, there goes my bet.
Well, so here's the thing. We were under the impression that the main event, there was the fight that was going to get switched around with Dennis Budka. We weren't sure who it was going to be, who's the person dropping out, but it might actually be this one.
I don't know if Budka's going to make middleweight, though, because Budka last weighed in at 205, 207, but he's usually a heavyweight, even though he's only 6 feet tall. He could be a middleweight. Maybe he took the short notice thing. It's just the stuff I saw, it was saying in particular that he's filling in for a light heavyweight in the main, but maybe this is the one. If it's Budka replacing either of these guys, Budka's going to run through both of them. Whether it's Hanacombe or Roston, he'll kill them. But I think he's replacing someone in the main. We're going to talk about that later when we get there.
Yeah, I'll wait until I get a reply.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We'll see what happens with Hanacombe, Roston. But we'll move on. Next up, we've got Sergey Sidey versus Ramon Tavares. Sergey, I'm going to call him Sergey. 9-1-0, 27 years old. Don't have his age or his height or his reach. On the other side, we got Tavares. He is 8-1-0, 29 years old. Why don't you start us off, Wiz?
Okay. Let me just pull up my notes again. So, I really like this Sergey Sidey guy. You'll see in the tape. I mean, the wrestling game, very top heavy, which is something that you want in a fighter that is using the grappling to win. And his ground and pound is just nasty. I really like his ground game, and we've seen time and time again, the guys that go through on the Contender Series likely have some sort of ground path, or they're just big knockout artists. And Sidey is the first of those options. Really good ground game, good ground and pound, top heavy, can control. And then he's going against a dude like Tavares, who, I don't know. just, I mean, a case of really bad competition, which no surprise, it's a Contender series, I get it, but really sketchy competition. And yeah, he's a cool striker, like a good striker, can set up his combos, but I just think the wrestling is going to be too much here, and I think City gets him out there probably round one. I think he takes him down and then ground and pounds his way into a victory here. I'm pretty confident in the City side or Sidey. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Sade, I've heard. I'm going to call him Sade. Yeah, honestly, I'm not sold on him. In general, I'm pretty low on Canadian MMA. Sorry, guys. I know we keep trying to get Canadians in here, but I'm pretty low on the scene there, especially the guys fighting at BFL. I mean, I know Cal Machado won his fight against possibly one of the worst people to ever appear on the Contender Series in Saflarski, because
Yeah.
Saflarski did worse than Lee Main. Lee Main is 54. He was 54 when he fought Cal Machado. So the BFL scene is rough. Sir, Sade, he does have good wrestling. I kind of feel like it's a little bit overblown. I'm like not seeing anything too great. I do think that's how he wins. I think that's a path for him, and he certainly got the edge here. My bigger concern is his striking. It's good, but he's like super hittable also, and he's getting hit by guys who are very unimpressive to me, and they're landing a decent amount on him and hurting him and making his face bleed and red. And this Ramon Tavares guy, he's nothing insane. Almost all of his fights are in combat night, but he's another one of these guys who he's got that dog in him. He brings the pressure. He's got decent striking. He's got nice body shots, which if you guys know me, I love those. And he's got that output and pressure that can break a lot of guys. Is it enough to break a guy like Sade? I don't really think so, but it can definitely make it difficult. And if he's making him uncomfortable, forcing Sade to shoot, I think he can find some success. The problem is I don't know really what Tavares' takedown defense looks like. The only time I've seen it tested was against Martin Day. Martin Day, UFC vet. He's all right. I think he knocked down Davey Grant, which is pretty impressive, I guess. But he's not a wrestler by any means. He's a striker, and he was shooting. He was able to defend Tavares, and he was eventually able to get the finish himself. But I don't know how good it is. So I have to assume that today's probably going to be able to take him down. But if he can't keep doing it, if he can't hold him down, I think this Tavares fella can hurt him on the feet. I think he can touch him up because I low-key think he's going to be the better striker. Sade will strike longer and straighter, and normally I really prefer that. But I'm not really seeing like the speed and like the pop from Sade. Whereas Tavares, I'm seeing a pop to it. I'm seeing that power. I'm seeing him hurt people. So, I'll pick Sade for now. But there's fights that I like to go back to and watch them again, maybe from a different viewpoint. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to try to see more about Sade's striking defense. I want to see how likely it is for him to actually get hurt. And I want to see a little bit more from Tavares, maybe hunt for some more tape, actually see what his takedown defense looks like. I'm going to pick Sade for now, but I'm not going to bet it at this line at least.
That's fair.
And we can move on to our main event. We've got Bruno Lopez versus Brenson Ribeiro. We mentioned earlier we are hearing whispers that one of these guys is out and Dylan Butka's coming in. Don't know who. Doesn't really matter. We'll talk about Butka in the end, but we'll go over the actual matchup first in case the whispers are wrong. Bruno Lopez, 11-0 undefeated. He's 30 years old, 6'2". On the other side, you got Ribeiro, 14-5-0. He's 27, so he's 3 years younger. He's 6'3". He's training out of Evolution Thai MMA. Lopez, I can't place him based off of his Instagram. It looks like he's just at a bunch of little camps. But I'll start us off. I mean, I get what everybody's saying, that this is like a throw-up match for a layup match for Bruno Lopez. And it does make sense because Ribeiro, you look at him, and I'll list the good things in a second, but in terms of the bad things, he just makes a ton of errors every single fight. The fight IQ is in the absolute negatives. I mean, he'll have the back, and then he'll just kind of fall off, and he'll be on top, and then he'll just get rolled over, and it's just not good. And once he's on bottom, he can't get up. It looks like for a second like he's threatening these great submissions, and he's setting things up and like scrambling. And then it just stops, and then he just gets ground and pounded out. And the unfortunate thing for him is if Bruno Lopez doesn't like what's happening on the feet for even a second, I'm 99% sure that he can get down Ribeiro. And if he gets him down, I think it's going to be a relatively quick finish. Now, the good things I do want to say about Ribeiro, I actually think his striking's pretty good. He does tend to swing kind of wide sometimes, but when the guy throws straight, I think it's very solid. It's very fast. It's got a good pop to it. Nice 1-2s. He's got good kicks. But again, he does mostly just get wild with it, and that's my problem with him. I'm not sold on the striking of Lopez, honestly. I think Ribeiro's faster, and I think he has more weapons because he'll throw knees, he'll use elbows. He definitely hits hard. But Lopez just seems to be a little cleaner, a little tighter, not over swinging as much. He seems to me a little bit basic. Maybe Wiz can touch on it more. Wiz actually strikes and trains in striking. But to me, Lopez seems just a good striker, but nothing more than that. I do like the jab. He also mostly throws straight. One thing I really noticed, well, the body shots are good too. I wanted to mention that. Also good at going to the body. But the one thing I noticed that I think is really solid is his feints. We don't really see lower level guys like Dana White's Contender Series guys successfully feinting, like actually doing feints that their opponents react to. And he does. He does. He'll move his hips and his opponents just freak out. He'll do the slightest movement and they'll freak out. And then he knows what to do next. And that's a pretty high level thing that we just don't see on regionals. We don't see on the Contender Series often. So you can tell the dude is really good. I think Lopez probably runs right through Ribeiro. I'll be looking at ITD. But honestly, like I wouldn't play the money line or like parlay him at minus 550 because I think Ribeiro on the feet is live. It's just how long is it going to be on the feet? Probably not for long. What do you think, Wiz?
Yeah, like I told you through DMs, voice crack. Holy shit. I just think this is a complete mismatch. I mean, you look at the tail of the tape. I mean, you look at the schedule, and then you look at the tape. It's just night and day difference between Lopez and Ribeiro. Lopez's grappling is fucking legit, and he can get the takedowns, and he'll dominate on the mat against Ribeiro, who's a guy that I don't really rate that highly of off his back. On the feet, yeah, Ribeiro can strike. I'm not gonna say it's anything crazy, but one thing we like to see with these Contender Series guys is that they throw straight. And both of these guys can throw straight, which is a good thing on both sides. Ribeiro, I think, the much quicker striker in this matchup. But, I mean, we've seen him get chin checked early, not that good of optics. So I think Lopez could club and sub him. I think Lopez could take him down and sub him. I think Lopez can knock him out. When when a fighter can cover all these outcomes at a fairly high clip, at least in my opinion, I'm gonna look towards that ITD line all day, but the money line's minus 550. I doubt they give us anything playable on the ITD, unfortunately. If they give me anything minus 150 and under, I'll take it without even thinking for just to win 2 units, 2.5 units, because I'm fairly confident that Lopez gets this done, probably round one. But yeah, I'm really high on this Lopez guy. We've seen these big favorites butcher their performances on Contender Series before, but I highly doubt that Lopez is one of them.
There's guys like Prates who absolutely showed up.
And I think this is another case of the same thing. So, yeah, I think Lopez is probably the best favorite on the card if people are looking for a parlay piece. I really think he wins convincingly.
Yeah, so real quick, we were about to like throw in Dylan Butka because I thought he was replacing the main event. But I'm looking at his last few fights. I didn't realize they've been at middleweight. I think he's going to replace one of the middleweight guys. And
but what I was telling the guy that gave me the info was it's on short notice. I don't know if he's going to be able to cut down to middleweight because the cut from when you're a middleweight that is off camp to middleweight is a lot bigger than a lightweight that is off camp because lightweight's probably 15, 20 pounds over where they're at. Middleweights, I mean, we've seen guys like Guerrero who are at 225, 230 when they're not in camp. So I don't know. It could be either or.
He is only 6 feet tall, but he's also built like a refrigerator.
Yeah.
But I will say, guys, real quick breakdown on Budka if he does replace either of those guys. First of all, if he's anything around minus 200, I think you should absolutely hammer him. Short notice or not, he smokes Roston and he smokes Hanacombe. Budka's extremely explosive. He's a decent striker, pretty good, I would say. Nothing like insane, but he's a good striker, good power, extremely explosive, very athletic. He can grapple, he can wrestle. He had a pretty good fight with Azamat Bakoev. It was actually a split decision, and Bakoev is a guy, one of the few ACA guys who's actually gotten into America and been able to fight in American promotions. And I actually finally figured out why ACA guys don't get to fight in like UFC and whatnot. It's like an embargo situation thing, whatever it's called, like because of the whole Russia thing. So they're not allowed to come here and fight in like promotions. Otherwise, promotions will get fined. But beating going to split with Bakoev, having that performance, that's impressive. He's fought at heavyweight. He's fought at light heavyweight. He's fought at middleweight mostly. And I think he smokes either guy. I don't see Hanacombe having any wrestling success against him. And on the feet, he's a dead man walking. And Roston, he's just not good enough. I think Budka smokes him too. So if that's the case, you guys are going to see me hammering Budka.
Yeah, I'm reading up a little bit on it. He's confirmed that he's going to be fighting on this card. But on his Instagram, it just says, we're fighting for a UFC contract next Tuesday on the Contender series in Vegas. Nothing else.
Mixed whispers, but it does make more sense for him to go to the middleweight one.
Yeah, but like I mentioned, it's just the cut. It's just
that's more of a him problem. You know, the fight might still happen, but then it's just a problem for him.
Unless they do it as a cash weight. You never know.
That's possible too.
Cash weight, yeah.
Did we really get those in Contender series though?
Didn't we have one like recently?
Maybe. I don't remember, but it does make sense.
Yeah. Could be.
Quick question, Wiz. Are you on Volkan or Bogdan this week?
I think this guy freaking Bogdan reeks of Oscar Mozarov.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna give it away. I hit the round one prop for Volkan at plus 275. This is another dick swinging contest. At least on one side it is. And I don't think his chin is good at all. We see this guy get hurt with jabs. I forgot who it's against, but this guy Bogdan gets hurt by jabs, like seriously hurt. So yeah, give me freaking Uzdemir in round one.
So I do want to respond to Rogue Strummer. Look, brother, you have to consider the competition, right?
Yes.
So Bogdan is knocking these guys out, right? On the regionals, brutally, yes. But what did Volkan Uzdemir do on the regionals? Let me go over it. Knockout, round one. 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 When good fighters are fighting bums, they knock them out. And Volkan came right into the UFC, and he got no favors. And also he has a win over Alikhan Vakhayev, who's an absolute beast in ACA, which is very impressive. That was in 2016. And I do understand that people are saying Volkan has declined a little bit. I'm not even sold on that narrative. I think that he's just gotten higher steps up in competition. Yuri Prohaska, Ankalaev, Craig, Krylov,
Craig, Ankalaev, Prohaska, Rakic, last five. You're going to tell me that freaking Guskov compares to a quarter of one of those fighters?
And how about this? Do you remember what the line was when Jiri made his debut against Uzdemir?
Uzdemir was a favorite. I was on Uzdemir.
Minus 175.
I was
almost
on
the identical line. So,
and here's the thing. They're saying, everyone's like, oh, he's chinny. Dude, he fought Krylov and Ankalaev both to a decision. Against
and he hurt Krylov.
And he beat Paul Craig in a decision. Although, like, Paul Craig was very tired in that fight.
But the beauty of that fight is, what you could take away from it is Uzdemir's fight IQ. He made no mistakes. And Craig is a guy you cannot make mistakes on, and he didn't. And I think that's something to pay attention to also.
Uh-huh. And I thought his durability was going to go to shit after that Yuri loss. But look at him. He has not been finished since. That was 4 fights ago. Ankalaev lost by decision. Craig won by decision. Nikita Krylov lost by decision.
Rogue,
It's
it
not
was
only-
sorry, Wiz. It was the Vyacheslav Vasilevsky fight.
Yep,
That was the jab.
that was insane. And the dude was, I think he was shorter than him too.
And I'm seeing some crazy takes, man. Like I've been hearing people talk about the footwork of Ogden.
Oh no! Oh no!
Um,
I get the part where Rogue Streamer is saying that he's taking less damage.
Yeah,
But-
that's fair.
Offensive striking, this dude has no technique. He doesn't set up any shots. He doesn't feint.
Do you think he cuts the cage?
No.
No, right?
This is the thing. People get this mixed up a lot, and that's why we end up on really bad ITD numbers sometimes. These guys that are getting knockouts on the regional scene, especially when it's the low-level regional scene, they're not cutting off the cage. They're just pressuring an opponent that does not have defensive striking nor offensive striking on their back foot. When the biggest tell for a lower level regional fighter, at least in the striking realm, whereas the higher level one is when they're getting pressured, when they're on the back foot, how does their striking look? Is it still technical? Is it still on point, or are they falling apart? That's the easiest tell for me. And in this case, I think Budka, we haven't seen him on the back foot, and something tells me that he is one of those fighters that wilt. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Bogdan, he probably is one of these guys that gets pieced up on the feet against a good striker.
You see the new picture flying around that people are hyping up? Bogdan's like
on the plane?
On the people are like, this guy's training everywhere.
I just want to know what the people on the aisle seats were thinking.
I mean, they're not going to say anything to a guy like that.
I mean, obviously not. They don't want to get hurt.
He can kick my seat all he wants, bro. I'm not saying shit.
Oh, fuck that. I got air marshals on this plane.
But all right, that's enough of those two. That's a card, guys. That's Dana White Contender Series Week 5. I think we're going to get a much better card next week. I've already taken a look at it. There's some good spots there, some good fighters. And we'll talk about it next week on Wiz's channel. So we'll do the usual. I'll plug myself. Wiz will plug himself. And then we're going to get out of here because it is 2 a.m. by me now. At Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter, Couch Warrior Podcast on YouTube. You guys know that because you're already here. I did a breakdown for the UFC Paris card on Tuesday with my guy Big Steve. That was dope. Big Steve. We like to roast each other a little bit, but the dude is sharp. He's one of the few guys in the space who actually does this for a living, and he's sharp and he knows what he's talking about, and he's one of the guys who sits there and tapes every single freaking fight. So make sure to watch that one back. Went live with Propaholic on Twitter Spaces yesterday to talk about the card from a prop perspective. Run that back. And if you don't want to watch long shows, all my shorts for this upcoming UFC Paris video are up. I mean, for the card are up. Each one's 1 minute. Do my best. I talk pretty fast, so I'm able to do shorts decently. But that's all I'm doing this week. Wiz, how about you, brother?
Yeah, just really excited for UFC Paris, although it's just going to be a lower volume card. And then I'm really excited to watch this Contender Series card. I think it's going to be a lot of good matchups, similar to last week where we have not the lowest level of guys, but well matched opponents in a sense. But yeah, at WizzDoes on Twitter, WizzDoes on YouTube. I just uploaded all of my PFL interviews and translation work onto the channel, so you can take a watch. And tomorrow I will be doing the 1 minute breakdowns. So I think I'm gonna do it early morning like I did last week. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we'll be back on my channel next week, and looking forward to it.
This guy Wiz, not only does he break down MMA, baseball, tennis, but the dude also translates while doing media at the same time. I was there. That shit was impressive. My guy is standing right next to a dude who just got a deadly knockout, looking him in the eyes and just translating for me. Killer.
Yeah, I was fumbling a little bit with the Arabic, but he understood me. He was fine.
He understood.
I need to brush up on the fight terms in case this happens again.
But dude, it's something I noticed, like as the person asking the questions, it's so awkward when they need a translation because you're talking to me and he's looking at me and at you, and I'm just like, who do I look at? I don't know who to look at.
Fuck you, Wiz. I talk to you every week on the on the internet. I don't want to talk to you in person.
But yeah, that was a good time. But all right, guys, it's time to get out of here. I'm exhausted, and I think Wiz is too. Peace out. Good luck, and have a good one, guys.